Saturday, but typically we're together on Sundays. So thanks for joining us this Monday night. We know it's a beautiful, beautiful day today. So hopefully, if you're Minnesota, it was a beautiful day in Minnesota. So hopefully you got out and enjoyed the weather here. And we already hear like the thunder roaring, so it's possibly going to thunderstorm this evening, but we shall see. But we will get started this evening. I'm Candace.
And I am Erik.
And we're the Yateses.
Welcome to Holy Matrimony.
Yes.
So
we typically come together every Sunday evening for our weekly live. We like to call it Sunday night service because, you know, we're just two church kids, so you'll probably hear a lot of those references. But Sunday night service with the Yateses. But of course, yesterday was Resurrection Sunday, also known as Easter, and so we wanted to take the night off and enjoy our family, and hopefully you all enjoyed your family and loved ones. And I saw a lot of people that had the opportunity to actually gather with more people because of having taken the vaccine, although COVID's still around. But yeah, we hope you had a great day yesterday. We had a great day.
Yeah.
We had a good time at church.
Great time at church.
Yeah.
Y'all, the praise and worship. I mean, I'm a little biased, but the praise and worship team just killed it. It was amazing.
Yeah, it was awesome. I'm on the praise team, but for real though, it was awesome.
And I had to tell her. Had I told you that before?
No.
I told her yesterday. I was like, man. And I was telling Ernest, who's our violinist. I was like, man, when Candace like goes real hard, like I just have a hard time keeping it together. Like something just. And he was like, I can understand because you guys have a connection. You guys are, spiritually bonded. I can understand that.
I think I would lose it if I saw you like break down on stage. I probably would like take off running or something. I don't know. And I mean, I've seen you like,
go in.
Well, and like get overcome with emotion, in worship and stuff like that. But I don't know.
It doesn't happen a lot.
No.
I try to stay focused on my ministry.
Yes.
But
yes, the funky bass.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think if you like if you like went up, I would be like done. I would just be like, pew! I'd be like taking off or something. I don't know. I'd probably fall out. I don't know. Because he's seen me go up plenty times.
Oh yeah. There's an interesting story. We'll talk about that another day.
Yeah.
Interesting story. Yeah.
But we're excited to be with you all this evening. Hopefully you have been able to review or rewatch some of our live videos. We're getting better and better with technology every week.
Yeah.
And also, just as a reminder, we do have a podcast also called Holy Matrimony that you can subscribe to and listen to on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Buzzsprout, and was there one more?
And I gotta check on the other ones, but there's some other ones coming like iHeartRadio and I might try to do Pandora too, but we'll let you know.
But those, of course, I mean, there's lots of Spotify, Android folks.
Yeah.
Apple Podcasts for the iPhone users, but Holy Matrimony, WHOLLY, is on both of those. And you can also follow us on YouTube, on our YouTube page.
Yep, Holy Matrimony.
Yes, so, but if you want to join us live, then hop on over to Facebook every Sunday evening or Monday this week, and you can join us in our conversation live. We watch the comments, and you can interact with us. We would love for you to join us. Again, we know it's a little later in the evening, but we have 3 children.
Yeah.
And we prefer for it to be quiet.
Yeah, and everybody settled down,
And they're not like little children, so they don't go to sleep at like 7. Back like they used to back in the day. Oh my gosh. But so they go to bed at like 9.
Right.
And then, they're like teenagers, so sometimes they also stall. Like tonight.
They just want to spend time with us as much as they can.
Yeah. Like this evening.
And avoid bedtime.
But it is what it is. But we appreciate you just for showing love, for liking.
If you're watching, just, shoot a hi or something in the comments just so we know that you're there. We want to make this interactive as possible, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, do you want to start with the fun fact or do you want to talk about how you're doing? Let's talk about how we're doing. Just checking. I mean, we kind of talked about Easter and everything yesterday, but what's going on with you? How'd you doing?
Yeah. So how'd you doing? Not how you doing. How'd you doing? That is a quotation from our little dude. What up, Jason Gale? It's funny though, because like I said, we have children. We said we were going to start at 9:30 tonight. We were a little late because I was having a conversation with one of my daughters, just about work and like not second guessing yourself at the last minute. And that's something that she's kind of dealt with before, and I could tell it was like creeping up again because she had been working on this assignment for school and was pretty much set in like what she was gonna do. And then at like 9:20 was like, oh, I think I'm gonna change it. And I was like, you need to go to bed. Like, what you talking about? You're gonna change it? Because she could either turn it online or she would have to present it to the class. But I think I'm grateful that like I was able to kind of like pause in the moment and like, okay, calm down, like, because you're trying to get ready for your video tonight and like you're getting irritated because you want to be on time and now you're about to be late. But I realized that, okay, let's have this mini conversation about you second guessing yourself and how that doesn't work, and also having to just be real with her and say there are things that you can't control, right? So like your teacher gives you an assignment, your job is to follow the instructions, to carefully do your best. Then your teacher's job is to either objectively or subjectively grade your assignment. Usually it's a mix of both, but you can't control that. And I think, Erik is a perfectionist. I think I have a little bit of, I was going to say I'm a perfectionist, but I'm like a procrastinating perfectionist.
But sometimes being a perfectionist can lead you to procrastinate.
It can. So that's why I was like,
because
actually,
you don't think
what
you're going to do is going to be good enough or perfect enough.
Yep. Yeah. And I think that's kind of what she was thinking. She was like, well, I don't know if it's going to be, I can't remember the word she used, but it was like, I don't know. I don't know if it's going to be perfect or something, she said. And I was like, can't do that, right? Like, because I said, oh, well, whose standards are you using then to determine if it's going to be good enough? And she was like, I was like, exactly. Like, we say to ourselves, well, it's got to be perfect. I don't know if it's going to be perfect, but what is perfect? Like, you can't control that. And I said, what if you change your mind and decide to present the assignment in front of the class tomorrow, and then like you get nervous and your mind goes blank? So see, you really can't control the outcome. You can't say to yourself, oh, I'm gonna change my mind, I'm gonna do it this way because I know that it'll be better, I know that it'll come out right. No, what your job is to follow the instructions, make a solid decision, and then go with that decision and do your best. Because if you keep going back and forth like, oh, I'll do it online, no, I'll turn it in front of the class, you'll never put like 100% effort into either one. And then it'll be on you. Like, you can't be mad that your teacher grades you however because you didn't put in the work. So that's kind of how I'm doing. It's kind of like those mommy moments. I feel like we had one like a couple weeks ago before y'all, like, for real, our son is going to turn 13 in November. So we will have 3 teenagers. Three. 1, 2, 3. 13, 14. And then right after him, the oldest will turn 16.
Right before he turns 13.
October, November. Yes, October. Yeah. I know when their birthdays are. So so when he turns, so it'll be 13, 14, 16, technically 14 and a half. Yeah. Crazy. Yeah. And it is showing. Yeah. In good ways and in challenging ways. I mean, I think when the kids were little, and if you have little children, you deal with a lot. Yeah. And you think like, oh my gosh, can't wait till they get older. Don't say that. Yeah. Do not say that. It's going to
happen quick.
Yeah. And there's challenges at every phase. So infancy, toddler, preschool, adolescent, all levels, you're going to have challenges as a parent. Your children are going to have different challenges. It doesn't matter how old they are. Yeah. They are not going to grow out of having challenges. So,
it's just life.
Yes, it's life. So we're like rolling down that teenage hill. And it is very interesting.
Yeah, it's interesting because, for many reasons, but I think just because their personalities are just kind of
distinct.
They're becoming their own person, even though they've always been. Right. You just see it more, and in the way they think, you're able to see more of how they approach different problems or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So it's just it's just really interesting.
Yeah, and they
grow.
have like three very like unique personalities.
Yeah.
So it takes a lot of having to slow down, like tonight, like having to like, okay, hold on. Let me make sure I'm hearing what you're saying so that I don't react in a way that, you know, causes more harm. Because I realized, okay, she was going to bed. She's got to get up early and go to school. So how can I have this conversation with her? But I don't want to make her like feel worse tomorrow when she goes to school. But we do need to have this conversation because I can definitely see that's an area that is challenging for her, like it is for both of us. That perfectionism, like a lot of the things your kids struggle with, y'all, they get it from you.
Yeah,
like,
as they say, the apple don't fall from the tree.
No.
Did I say that right? The apple doesn't fall too far from the tree. Sorry,
you just said it the country way the first time. So that's how I'm doing, like coming out of straight mommy mode into this. That's like
into video and.
It's like every day, whatever. So how you doing?
I'm doing well.
With your little perspiration.
Yeah, I know I'm sweating. It's hot in the house. I turned the heat off, but
well,
it's
still
80
hot
in
degrees
here.
today.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, do we have to turn the AC on already?
No. We will crack the
there
windows.
may be a snowstorm next week. I better stop speaking that though, because I've been, you know, the last few Aprils we've gotten pounded with snow, and I'm just like trying to prepare. In case it happens.
Cross my fingers.
So I won't be heartbroken. But anyway, I'm doing well. One thing that's just kind of on my mind a lot is just how our kids are growing, but how Erik is growing.
Like, our youngest.
He's like growing like for real, man. Like he's still short a little bit, but he's almost as tall as Jaden. But he's just like, his body is growing, and then like we went
solid.
And we went on a walk today, and you know, he was just, you know, his balance and stuff is, you know, not what we would call normal, but I can tell right now, like as he's been going through a growth spurt, that he's trying to get used to his body changing.
Oh, he's trying to get used to his man parts, all right?
Yeah, and that too, like,
oh my gosh,
bruh, man, oh my gosh, like, and so it's just kind of mind boggling that. You know, this day comes when your kids grow up, and we've had two girls that are, you know, teenagers already, but he's like my little dude, you know.
I know. I still hug him like so tight before bedtime, and I know he is like, good night, like, but I like still try to like hug him and like hold him, and I'm like, but you're so big, but I still want to like cuddle you like my little 3-year-old.
Yeah.
But you're not. You're 12.
Yeah. He's just growing. His feet are getting bigger. Everything. It's just like, this is really happening.
Yeah.
You know.
So that's where we are, like.
Yeah.
Just seeing all the changes in the growth with our kids. And then, like, you were talking about him, and I'm like, oh my gosh, if you're friends with me on Facebook, you may have seen my post, but April is Autism Awareness Month. Also, Autism Acceptance Month. There's some, you know, differences between those two. I choose to promote both of them because I think, first of all, we have to be aware in order to develop acceptance. But our youngest, our junior, is autistic, and we have just been on this journey as two parents of an autistic child for 12 years now, and two parents of two neurologically atypical children, because our son is not the only child in our house with a cognitive disability. Our oldest does as well. And so honestly, like, I've always viewed her as being autistic, even though she's not officially diagnosed.
Right.
Autism, kind of just take a tangent here. Autism is what am I trying to say? Autism, it's a spectrum, but autism research and diagnostics is really steeped in the like young white male bias. Like that is where a lot of like the old research is based. And so when you think of like diagnosing a young black girl, there's a lot of markers that don't match. And I really view her as atypically autistic, right? Like she doesn't have, well, she does STEM, if you recognize it. She does STEM, but she doesn't have like a lot of the stereotypical physical markers of a child with autism. She is verbal. But I think she does have a lot of lesser known or lesser like talked about symptoms or aspects of a child that's autistic. And so it's just been really interesting you know, we may kind of venture out in having some more medical testing done, not like physical, but cognitive testing done to possibly see if she can get that diagnosis, because it will benefit her. I mean, she does have one right now. It's not autism, but it will benefit her, and it will help her, I think, understand more about herself. And it's so funny because, like, I don't know, her and her brother, I think she views him as like an object. Like he's a thing. And so the thing, like he's a thing. And when that thing does certain things, it just kind of gets under her skin.
Yeah.
Because she is a very literal, objective child. Like her subjectivity is very low. Social cues, her understanding of social cues is very low and growing. And so when you have another being in the house who doesn't operate predictably and it's really hard for her to like wrap her literal brain around who is this and how does he function. Like, she knows her sister, she knows the things that gets under her sister's skin, all that kind of stuff, but it's hard for her to do that with her brother. And so like they don't clash. She loves him deep down, but
he doesn't clash with her.
No.
But sometimes she has issues with him.
Yeah.
He's always trying to hug her and give her high fives and stuff like that.
Yeah, she's growing though.
But we try to help her deal with those feelings a little bit better.
Yeah, but it's like, again, in dealing with kids, like you kind of we have to take a step back and look at it like, okay, what is going on here? Because it's not that she just like doesn't like her little brother and she's being mean. I think she really does view him. I think she has this kind of like blurred view of him. Like she can't figure it out, and therefore it's frustrating. The noises he makes, just because she has very sensitive hearing, so like the noises and it's just the randomness, it's hard for her to handle.
Yeah.
And so she's just like, just get away from me. Like, I don't, for real, like, come on, y'all. Don't act like y'all kids is all loving each other at home. Right. She don't want to be by him. She don't want to sit by him. She don't want to hear him chew. But that is a part of her disability. That is a part of how she cognitively functions. Yeah. I am literal. And so if I cannot look at you and distinguish who you are, what you do, how you do it, then I don't like you. And that's how she is with her brother. But she loves him. Yeah, oh yeah. She just don't like him.
There's some times where she likes him. But
and she'll, she ain't gonna let nobody else punk him, but you know. Yeah. So it is what it is.
Yeah. Okay, well, before we do our fun fact, we can just say hello to some people in the comments.
Hey, y'all.
See, you already said hey to Jason, Toya.
Thank you for
joining.
How
you doing? Yeah, Alma, how you doing? Thanks for joining.
Yes.
Hope you are blessed. Sounds like Trey.
See, you are not alone. And I feel like hopefully we can share enough stories and because I feel like sometimes you go through some stuff and you be like, how come nobody told me this? Like, why didn't anybody tell me that my child was probably gonna do X, Y, and Z, and like that my child was all of a sudden gonna get obsessed with like vibrating bass videos on YouTube. For real, that's a true story, you guys. That is.
I was like, when did Jaden start listening to bass music?
Lord have mercy. But that's part of her. I think her sensory thing too is vibrations. Yeah. And so somehow, some way, and she discovered the vibe test. You can look it up, vibrating bass, and it's like these videos on YouTube that people like play in their cars, right, to test like the subwoofers and stuff. She has a whole song list. She got a whole song list
with her little speaker, Bluetooth speaker, just in there clubbing.
And she'd be like, "Can I turn it up?" And then we had to have this conversation about and I really appreciate that our kids they've learned a lot of good things from us, because she realized that some of the songs she picked had cuss words in it. And we was like, oh, no, we not doing that. So she was like, can I play the clean ones? And I'm like, there you go. But some of them, we pay attention to them because I'm like, I still don't like what they're playing.
Yeah, what they're talking about.
And hey, to each their own, right? Every parent is different. She was bumping Meg Thee Stallion. It was the clean version. I was like, yeah, we still not going to listen to that. And it wasn't just WAP. It was some other song. And I was like, no. I just said, hey, I need you to choose something else because I know you're playing the clean version, but there's some other things she's singing about that we don't sing about in this house.
Right.
And she was like, okay. So, I mean, I didn't yell at her.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I didn't make a big scene because what's going to happen? She going to listen to it then if I make a big scene about it. But I was just like, that's still not appropriate, Jaden. So just pick a different song. And she did. She picked a different one. But yes, homegirl be bumping in her room.
And then she has LED lights around.
Yes,
So
it'd be like Club Jaden.
She'd be in there in the club.
She got club
drinking her ginger ale.
Yep. She be straight chilling. We'll have to share some more stories about her later. So
yeah. Okay, so all right, let's go on. We still got to do the fun fact before we even do our main subject. Oh my gosh, we got to get going here. Okay, the fun fact for the week
that I have not heard.
Candace has not heard this. 81% of happily married couples said their partner's friends and family rarely interfered with their relationships.
I felt that
compared to just 38% of unhappy couples.
Oh, bless the Lord! Wait. Say that
so
again.
81% of happily married couples basically said that their family and friends don't butt into their relationship, don't interfere in their relationship, compared to just 38%. So yeah, 38% of the unhappy couples. Wait, am I reading this right?
So 38% of the other couples, of all the couples that don't have family butting into their relationships, 81% of them are happy.
Right.
38% of them aren't.
Well, that doesn't add up to 100%. So
there's some people that are other. They didn't decide.
Yeah, we could just say 81% of happily married couples basically keep their stuff at the house instead of, letting their friends and family butt into their relationships.
Come on now, that'll preach.
Yeah.
Mind your business.
And I thank God that our friends and family don't try to interfere. I mean, we don't let them, but I mean, they haven't really tried. No. My mom has never been the kind to butt into my personal affairs like that. And my dad definitely. My dad even less. My dad just want to watch sports all day. That's all. And he went, just have little conversations.
Right. Now my mom will tell me like all their business, but she won't tell me. She won't be all up in mine.
Yeah.
Nah. I think early on for us, like, I don't know if we didn't like have a specific conversation about that. I'll speak for myself. For me, I did kind of grow up around that chitter chatter, from the wives, my aunties and stuff. I mean, obviously as a child, they weren't talking about like serious stuff in front of me. I'm sure they had more conversations with each other when I wasn't around, but I know they did. And I mean, I don't have a biological sister, so my adulthood is different. My mom has 7 sisters. So you can imagine visiting and just those different conversations that take place when you have 7 sisters, who you're all married and have kids. I mean, you probably talk about a lot of stuff, but I can't say there was a lot of meddling. Like nobody was like trying to get other people to do stuff. But I think what I took from that and other things, it wasn't just them, but I think what I took from that was like, be mindful about what I share with my friends, and stuff like that. Because if I'm talking to my friends about it, he knows, right? Like, or if I do talk to my friends about it and it's not something like we discussed prior to, I'm gonna come home and be like, oh yeah, we were talking about X, Y, and Z, and I was telling them how you said yada 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 and how you did. Like, that's my filter, is that if whatever I'm telling you, am I gonna come back home and we gonna talk about it, or did we talk about it and we already kind of have that understanding of, oh yeah, that's just, I mean, we could talk about it. Because if it doesn't go through that filter, if it doesn't make it through that filter, then it's not something that I'm sharing with my friends. And I hopefully, I believe that the people that I hang around, that's the same thing they do, right? Like they filter what they share with me as a friend. Like, yeah, I talk with my friends about a lot of stuff now. Don't get me wrong. But it's just stuff that I know I can trust them with, and that, and this, like, I see them being as vulnerable and sharing and as open to, and I'm not like bashing him. Yeah. Like, man, this nigga, like, sorry, I'm sorry, this whole matrimony, but I'm not like bashing him or anything like that. Putting his name out there. I've talked to my friends about challenges and everything, but still I feel like it's in a balanced way
Right.
where I'm not like, I don't ever want to walk into a place together and like have people look at us.
You're like,
Exactly. And then one of us look at the other like, why they looking at us like that? See, I don't.
Or when somebody saying, "Ooh, I heard about you."
Exactly.
Like, what you talking about?
Or just alluding. Like, that's messy.
Yeah.
No.
This is something I've always kind of had in my mind, is that if you talk bad about your spouse to somebody else, whether it be a friend or whoever, you unwillingly give them permission to talk about them too.
That's good.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So they may not talk about that person to you.
That's right.
But they may not talk to anybody, but a lot of
they
friends, be like, yeah, Candace told me such, and Erik was doing such and such. All for real. I mean, it may not go nowhere, but it may. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're giving them permission to do the same, even though that's not what you really intend to do.
It's the same thing.
Yeah.
If you talk to one of your friends, you're talking about, if I talk to you about somebody, then basically that's giving you permission to talk about me to them too. Like, we're all being messy.
Yeah.
so we try to avoid that. I
mean, now there are times where, you have a trusted friend, a confidant, we both have those where you can bounce things off of them. But, it's your responsibility to do it in a loving way where you're sharing. Also, you may have a challenge with them, but it's in a loving way.
And to make it very clear that if you're having a conversation with them about your relationship, that it's just between y'all.
Yeah.
Like, there's no... I mean, that's the thing. I don't get how people kind of have a hard time with saying to a friend, can you just, please don't share this with anybody. It doesn't mean I don't trust you.
Right.
I'm just being clear.
Yeah.
I'm just being clear with what my boundaries are, because maybe if I don't say it, you might think it's okay to talk to your mom about. And not that you're talking about me, but you just might think it's okay to talk to other people about. So I would just say, just make sure you don't share that with anybody. And I've had people do that with me. Like, even say, like, please make sure, like, I don't even feel comfortable with you talking to Erik about that. Absolutely fine. Ain't none of his business.
I'm good.
Yeah.
I don't need to know everything.
But I am glad that, like, we don't have to deal with, like, our parents and relatives kind of just, especially because we've had some tough situations where we've had to call on them to help us.
Yeah.
Financially, you know what I mean? And so, like, in those situations, I'm not going to say they had every right to try to meddle, but that can definitely create...
That can open the door,
that sticky situation where it's like, well, we helped you out. We gave you this money, so what you doing? And,
you ain't taking care of my daughter like you told me you would.
And getting into business. No, he's never said that.
No, he hasn't. I'm just saying, it could happen,
Yeah, so I'm glad we haven't had to deal with that, because that's stressful. I mean, and especially our generation and, like, folks that are a little older and younger than us who have children, it's like... I know a friend of mine calls it the sandwich generation. You're sandwiched between your parents and your kids. And so it's like, you don't want to feel that pressure. Like, you're already raising kids who are all over the place. And then you have to deal with, meddling parents and family members. That puts a lot of strain on a marriage.
Yeah.
And then I think it pulls the two of you. It can cause you to feel like you have to choose sides. I mean... That happens.
Yeah.
A parent is meddling. They don't like how, you're treating your spouse or vice versa. And why you let him treat you like that? And why doesn't he do this? And why doesn't he do that? That's causing you to, like, kind of pick a side there.
Yeah.
Do you come to the defense of your husband at the potential expense of your relationship with your family member? What do you do? How do you set those boundaries? But you have to.
Yeah.
Because it can really tear a marriage apart. Yeah. Yep. And you could, like you said it earlier, you can do it, like, respectfully.
Yeah.
Some people may not listen, but you can do it respectfully. You don't have to yell.
Right.
And banish folks and say, I'm never going to talk to you again. Like, you don't have to do that.
Be gone.
But you might. Yeah, you might too. So.
Okay.
That's an interesting fact. I mean, last week, we kind of came to the conclusion, guess what? Happy marriages are good for the economy.
Yeah.
And this is kind of one of those things that contribute to a happy marriage, not having meddling family members and friends. So again, I kind of do the additional advice. If you're a family member of somebody who is married, stay out of their business,
Yeah,
okay?
they've been
So they can benefit the economy. Okay. Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
All
Well, we mentioned last week that, last week we talked about supporting your spouse, supporting them as they grow, evolve, develop new goals, achieve new things in life. And we just talked about like that sacrifice of support. So if you haven't, definitely go back and watch that or listen to the podcast. But one of the things that came out of that conversation last week was an activity we used to do. And I believe since it kind of like came back to our minds, that means we need to start doing it again.
Right.
I learned through reading a book called The Miracle Morning for Couples. And you may be familiar with The Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod. This is not a paid promotion, so I'm not going to boost it that much. But The Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod talks about basically SAVERS, 6 things, savers, that you can like do every day to kind of get your day going, to set your mind, get you grounded and just really get you focused and really help everything else in your life. And that acronym is called SAVERS. That was a huge successful book. He's got a whole like Miracle Morning community on Facebook that I'm a part of. But he then later, after he got married, because I think he wrote Miracle Morning, he was single. But he got married and developed Miracle Morning for Couples. And in that book, he talked about something similar to Savers that the two of you can do as a couple to really grow together, develop that intimacy and connection every single day, called T.E.A.M. Oh, and that's what it was, because last week you shared that statistic.
Spending time together.
Yeah, what was it?
It was that... Well, there was
the average
couple.
The average amount of time couples spend together.
Oh yeah, with after work and working with kids and everything else, screen time, all that. It's 4 minutes a day.
So the average amount of time couples spend together,
like one-on-one, intimate,
distraction free.
Yeah,
basically distraction free.
Right.
Okay, it's 4
minutes.
Now you're the mathematician. Crazy. How many minutes are in a day?
Oh, I don't know.
You gotta do the math. It's 60 times 24.
60 times 24 is, I don't know.
It's 1,440. 1,440 minutes, I think. Something if I did the math fast enough. I might not have. But, so if it is 1,440 minutes, the average amount of time that couples spend together, distraction free, so like not doing kitchen stuff together after dinner, not getting the kids together, so it's 4 minutes.
Yeah,
that's not even 10%. 10% would be 14, right?
No, 10% would be 140.
1%.
144.
1% would be 14.
Yeah.
So that's not even 1% of the day. Now, we said, of course, there are exceptions.
Yeah.
Right? There's
if you're working like different schedules or something.
Yeah. Different schedules. One person works days, one person works nights. Of course, there are exceptions to that, but that still can be stressful for a relationship. But like you said, you were like, well, if that's the average, that means that like
there's some people that are below average.
Exactly. So, and they're like we said, there's some people that don't spend any time together. One person may be, a full-time grad student and working a full-time job, and the other person is supporting them. They barely see each other. So we're not talking about the understood exceptions, the intentional exceptions.
Right.
But we know, there's billions of couples on the planet.
Billions,
yeah.
Well, there's about 7-8 million people. There's a lot of single people and kids too. Millions,
hundreds of millions, close to 1 billion, hundreds of millions. See, mathematician. Hundreds of millions of married couples on the planet. So if the average distraction-free amount of time, and this may be an American statistic, 4 minutes. We talked the question was like, how can couples start to build that quality connection together? And when we start to think like, oh, okay, now I got to set a lot, we got to have quality time, then what happens, right? What happens? You think to the extreme. Mm-hmm. It's just like dieting. You think, oh, I need to start working out. So what do you decide to do? I'm going to go to the gym for 2 hours every day. And that lasts for 3 days. And then what happens?
Real sore.
Exactly. You get sore. You have regrets.
I can't lift my arm. No, I'm sorry.
True. And then you don't do it anymore. So we're like, okay, well, how can couples start to build that intimacy and grow together, but not like be unrealistic about it? Because if you go from 4, 10, 15 minutes to like, I mean, we try to do it. We're like, we're going to go on a date every week. Yeah, we have children. Now, we do need to be better now and do it because our kids can stay home and watch themselves. But we were really like, we're going to go on a date. We were going for like a date every 6 months to like, we're going to go on a date every week. Unrealistic. So this is something that we learned through that book on how to take a small chunk of time in the morning, or you could do it at night, but like typically it's in the morning, and begin to build that connection. Yeah. And the acronym is TEAM. TEAM. And it stands for touch, education, appreciation, and meeting. And so every day, you can commit 5, 10, maybe 15 minutes max to run through all 4 of these things as a couple. And so the first one is touch, and that just simply means, yes, to touch each other. And touch, like, you can sit and hold hands. So, like, I'm like, how you going to cut my hand? We don't hold hands like this. Yeah. We hold hands like this.
Yeah.
So, while you're talking and having your miracle morning with your spouse, you can hold hands. You can, just kind of have your hand on the other person and rubbing their shoulder, rubbing their back. You can sit like close together so that you're touching. You can cuddle. Because, okay, going back to that statistic, if couples are spending an average of 4 minutes undistracted time together every day, they're probably not touching too much. Probably not getting a lot of kisses in. Yeah.
Hugs and all that kind of stuff.
And if they do, it could be really quick. But this is one way for you to get that intentional touching with each other every day. Yeah. We shared a few videos ago that we kiss each other good morning and good night every day. Every day that we're in each other's presence. If one of us isn't traveling, it's good morning with a kiss. It's good night with a kiss. And I mean, I thought that was normal. I thought that was a normal thing. We think everything in our world is the norm. But, there's probably some couples that don't. But that is a quick way to get in some physical closeness with each other, is to give each other a kiss. Yeah. And be intentional about doing it every single day.
Mean that, John.
Yes,
mean it.
And mean it. Yes. Even if I'm like, what are you going to say?
Take time to feel them lips.
Get your head back in the conversation.
No,
See, we're talking about touching, and he just gone somewhere.
Hey, guilty as charged.
Yes.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna complain either. But so that's the first part. So the first part of it is just what you physically do. Yeah. Like it's not even conversation. Just touch each other, y'all.
Yeah.
Touch each other. Yeah. Don't be scared.
Need some more touching between these married couples a bit.
Yeah. Or if y'all sleeping on the opposite ends of the bed,
Yeah.
Start in the middle together. Something.
Yeah.
So
just because you got a king size bed don't mean you gotta be on both sides of it.
Exactly. Share the middle.
Yeah. Come on now.
Touch each other's feet. I don't know. Whatever it is, figure out how to touch each other during your time together in the morning.
Okay, I'll do the next one.
Yeah.
I mean, you probably have to come and jump in. And the next one is education.
Yeah.
And I do this a lot because I'm always like, did you know?
See?
Some random useless facts. No, but sometimes I have good things that I've learned that I want to share. That may be, important to her. Just maybe something that's important to me. I think that's a good way to share your heart with somebody to tell them what's important to you, even if it's like, about your favorite band or whatever. You know what I'm saying? They get to know you a little bit better. So, but it's also sharing things that you've learned that, kind of put you in a different, position or a different mindset that can benefit you and kind of take you to the next level and things like that too.
Yeah.
Like, sharing about what you read in the Bible and what God spoke to you, even that too, or just sharing, something you learned at work, something you learned how to do, or something that may benefit the household. Like, I learned maybe we could try to do this or that or whatever, just sharing what you've learned with the other one, because we're both growing. We talked about that last week too, with supporting each other for success. We're both still evolving and growing, and so we want to share that with our spouse. We want to have them aware of what we're doing. You hear about people that grow apart, it's because they're not sharing their whole journey with one another. So, it's good to share, things that you learn with your spouse.
Yeah.
Sorry, I keep scratching my arm. I got bit by a mosquito yesterday.
Oh, you did?
Actually.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I should be like, stop fidgeting.
Yeah.
No, but that is I like how you explain that. And I think the only thing I thought about was that this part may seem, I don't want to say weird, but a little bit unusual, right? Like to kind of be intentional in that moment and give each other space to say, like, what have you learned? Like, what are you learning about yourself? Or what is something that you're learning that you want to share with me? What is something that I'm learning that I want to share with you? But like you said, it's a part of that growing together.
Right.
And like, it's a really good way to create that intentional space to do that, so that you don't look up and be like, oh, I didn't know you were interested in that.
Where'd that come from?
Yeah. Since when did you like to listen to that kind of music? Or since when did you like going to that? That story. That's what that education is for. To be able to share, like, I made this new discovery about myself. I learned about this. And you may feel... And it's important for you to give space to the other person. It's not that you're sharing something educationally that'll benefit me. You're not teaching me anything. You might, but it's more you saying, this is what I'm learning. This is what I'm discovering. And I want to share that with you. And the person who's listening, you're saying, I am listening. I'm listening because I am interested in you.
Yeah.
I want to know how you're growing. I want to know how you're changing. I want to know the things that you're interested in. Like today at dinner. I love garlic stuffed green olives. Apparently,
I didn't know that.
My husband was not aware of that, and I
knew you liked olives, but I didn't know garlic stuffed olives.
I think I cannot remember where I discovered it. But oh my gosh, I placed an online order for some groceries and I saw them. I was like, oh, yes, I need some of these in my life today. And I was like so excited. But he was like, I didn't know you liked garlic stuffed olives. And I was like, what? But, that's even, so it could be something just even as little as that. Like, I love garlic stuffed olives, and I want you to know. Yeah, it ain't romantic. It's not about
on her birthday. I'm just joking.
No, for real. I mean, hey, buy me a jar if you're out and you see that they're low.
Oh yeah.
And I'm at the store. Honey, I saw that you were low on your garlic stuffed olives, so I bought you some more.
Yeah.
But that's what that educational piece does, because I get to learn like what your interests are. What do you value? How are you growing? And what are you learning? And it's for me to listen. It's not for me to judge. Not for me to, learn anything. I might take away, but it's for me to give you an opportunity to show me how you're growing and learning. And again, this whole team thing, 10 minutes.
Yeah.
15 minutes tops, right?
Yeah.
So you don't have to lecture each other about it.
Right.
I can just say tomorrow, like, oh my gosh, like, maybe it kind of spills over into our team time in the morning. And I'm like, yeah, I really do love garlic stuffed olives. And I might maybe share why, or the story about how
you did kind of talk about that. I mean, we don't have to go into it, but like you said, when you were in Spain, that's how you became, more aware of the flavor of olives, because they were like the real deal over there.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah. So giving that space, but I like how you explain that about education. It's not you teaching me or me teaching you.
Right.
Right. It is so refreshing. I love that. Alma said it's really refreshing to learn new things in a long-term relationship. And that is so true. Like,
very refreshing. Yeah.
There's always more to learn about the other person. And then, you can talk about your career. I can talk about my career or whatever. There's always something to learn about the other person, and being intentional and carving out a little bit of time gives you the space to do that.
Yeah.
So that, like we said, years don't go by and you're like, man, I don't even know you anymore. We don't want that to happen.
Right.
We want you guys to continually get to know each other. So the next one, so it's touch. Make sure you touch each other.
Touch.
Reach out and touch. Educate. So educate each other on some things. And the next one is appreciation.
Appreciation.
Yes. So taking the time to verbally, specifically, clearly appreciate the other person. And again, it could be big, whatever you judge big. It could be small. You're only spending a couple minutes in the morning doing this. You don't have to have a laundry list. It could be one thing that meant a lot to you. It could be one thing that you just want to appreciate, but hey, it's not, it's not making you jump over the moon, but you want the other person to know, I see you. I appreciate you for doing X, Y, and Z, or for being X, Y, and Z. And I think that's a big one. I think a lot of times, like, you're really good about affirming me, not just for the things I do specifically, but just for who I am and how I be as a person. And that means a lot to me. I mean, one of my, I would say, love languages as an older adult is words of affirmation. And so when you are specific about telling me how I am and how much you appreciate that, that means a lot to me. And it does mean a lot to me when you appreciate, what I do. But I think it's really important for spouses to really focus on, like, I just really appreciate that you are, like, you're a man of your word. You're a man of integrity. You're corny. And I do appreciate that.
Yeah.
Even though, sometimes.
Yeah, I know sometimes. But all the other times,
I'm just being a wife, and sometimes I get annoyed.
You have to have balance. You
do.
Can't have two corny people. You got to have, a balance in the house.
I guess.
So, it's all good.
Yes. But so that A is appreciation. And again, as you take that time to appreciate each other, don't feel like you have to one-up each other.
Right.
Yeah. Just I think a good thing to do for this, especially, is to either write down the night before, or just take a minute before you actually start sharing with each other and write down what it is you want to share as your appreciation, so that you don't get caught up in your mind trying to think of something else because of what the other person has said. Right? So, because it's not about, and also putting yourself, getting in the mindset of not judging the other person for whatever it is they say they appreciate about you. Because I could simply say, I really appreciate you for not closing the bathroom door so loudly in the morning. I mean, if it's something I really appreciate, I may want to share that.
Yeah.
But it's not then your job to feel like, really, that's all you can appreciate me for? Because maybe in that moment, that I really did appreciate that. Like, the true story. Like, true story. I was like, can you not?
I was like, oh, I didn't know.
I mean, I would be like, oh my gosh. Like, because he wakes up before me, but he oiled the hinges. So now the door closes quietly and I don't wake up, and he closes the door softly. So it was something that I was like, I really appreciated that. So if that is something that I share in our morning time, it's your job, it's your spouse's job to receive that appreciation and know that it's coming from a place of sincerity, and not judge it and be like, really, that's like all you appreciate about me? You can't appreciate anything else? No, because the other part of this is that this is something that you can do every single day. So I might share that appreciation today, but you never know what I'm going to say tomorrow.
Right.
But I think, did I say on this one about writing it down ahead of time?
Yeah, you just said
that. Yeah. So write it down, because then when he shares what he appreciates about me, I also won't feel like, oh, maybe I should have said something else, because we'll both be coming from an honest place.
Right.
I wrote it down. You wrote it down. This is honestly what I want to say, how I want to appreciate you right now.
And you can always save whatever you're thinking of till tomorrow. I mean, And
you can say more than one thing.
Right.
We're not saying you can't, but I want to stress that, like, even in the book, if you read the book, it really is like 5 to 15 minutes max, right? He's not, because he understands that, like, he wants couples to have like small repeated wins every single day. And again, going back to the whole like diet and exercise example, what happens? The new year comes, we make a resolution. I'm going to the gym every day.
Every day, man.
I'm starting weightlifting. I'm gonna start bicep curling 25 pounds, and I haven't lifted
I'm about to be swole.
I haven't lifted a dumbbell in 8 years. So it's not gonna last, right? Because you try to hit it hard. So this concept is like small wins every single day to build
consistency.
Yes, consistency, and so then you build that quality time, and then you may decide, oh, we're going to spend some more time together later, but just every day. And it's so powerful, because I feel like it just really gets to both of you on the same page every day.
Yeah.
So that when you go off and you go to work, you do get up, and now you got to do stuff with the kids, and it really gets you going together as a couple. Just like his original book, Savers, that is all about you as the individual. Like, that's what you can do for yourself every day. But this is like the two of you as a couple starting your day together. Or you can do it in the evening, because of course your schedules may not work to do it in the morning. So there's touch, educate, appreciate.
Can I just say one more thing about the appreciation?
Yeah.
You talked about how, like, say the squeaky door thing, that I was like, oh, okay, I didn't know that was a problem for you, so I fixed it or whatever. Yeah. Or whatever the situation might be. I think a good way to look at sharing appreciation with your spouse is looking at it as an opportunity to learn to love the other one better, the way they want to be loved. You know what I'm saying? Like, if, say, for instance, you might say, I really just like how you cleaned up the kitchen, I really appreciate that last night. You can say to yourself, okay, that made her feel like appreciated and loved for me to help her out and do that. I'm going to do that more often, because that is, she really likes that, or whatever it is, it's an opportunity, because you got to let them know. Like, we don't automatically know how to love one another.
No.
That's something we've had to learn over the years.
Decades. It's almost been 2 decades.
But when you tell your spouse what you like and even what you don't like, that gives them an opportunity to love you the way you want and need to be loved. So that's just came to me.
That's good.
Yeah.
And I'll take it a little bit of a step further, because we in Holy Matrimony, we talk about everything. And so appreciation, learning how your spouse wants and needs to be loved, that includes sex, y'all.
Oh, you took it there?
Yeah. Because sometimes, and I've had these conversations with wives before where you're not talking to your spouse about what you like and what you don't like. How are they supposed to know?
Yeah.
And if you can reframe it and say, this is what I really appreciate about you in terms of our sexual relationship. I like when you do this. I like how you are attuned to X, Y, and Z about me. And it can help open up further conversation about, I don't really like that. It would be good if, I'm not a big fan, without, hurting the other person's feelings. Right. But if you don't talk about it, it's not going to change.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I wrote this down.
Uh-oh.
And I apologize because I don't have I'll find the quote and post it in here, the author of the quote. But he said, if you don't change direction, you may end up where you're headed. Pretty simple to me.
Yes.
If you don't change directions, if you don't change direction, you may end up where you're headed.
Mm-hmm.
So if we don't talk about what I appreciate, because that can help change directions too.
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate X, Y, and Z. So then, like you said, you're learning how to love your spouse. So you may do more of.
Mm-hmm.
Or if I'm telling you what I appreciate, you may deduce, oh, well, if she appreciates that, I probably shouldn't do that.
Mm-hmm.
Or if he says that, I probably shouldn't do that anymore because he's telling me he appreciates this. But you could even talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, you told me that you appreciate, when I fold clothes.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, maybe I shouldn't leave the basket's full of clothes.
You don't have to tell on yourself.
I will, because, hey, ain't no shame. I'm sorry, y'all. I try. We're going to do better with the clothes.
Yeah, it's all good.
But so appreciation is the third aspect of that team building time in the morning, for the both of you to make space for each other to share how you appreciate each other, and think about if you do that every single day. I mean, 7 days a week, y'all. Every single day. Think about what that will do for y'all.
Yeah.
I mean, you'll just look at that person in the middle of the day or when they get home from work and be like, I mean, because, think about if your spouse just like poured appreciation into you every day.
Yeah.
What that would do for the two of you.
Sounds like a lot of built up intimacy.
Yes. And it's not just about the sex, y'all, but
of course not.
I mean, but it does include that. But even within that relationship, it makes that greater.
Yeah.
This makes that greater. Building the intimacy outside of sex makes the sex greater.
Mm-hmm.
A lot. Right?
Yes.
Because you're connecting. You're communicating.
I thought that was a good place to give
You thought
praise.
it was time to end the video? Just kidding.
Boop. No, I'm just kidding.
You're connecting with each other. You're like you're saying, you're loving on each other intentionally. And just the fact that I'm choosing to like remove all distractions and to, connect with you physically and mentally, which is that educate, and emotionally. That's the appreciate. That is like what did you say earlier? The trifecta.
Yeah.
That's the trifecta.
Right.
All right. That's the foreplay before the foreplay of what you need to have that physical intimacy in your relationship. But the last one is meeting. And we're not saying you gotta bust out your iPad or your laptop or anything and have
your glasses.
It's time for our business meeting. But it is kind of like, it can be that.
Yeah.
Like logistics. Let's talk logistics. What you got going on today? But also that meeting of where are we in our relationship? How are things going? What do we need to be aware of? Do we need to have any conversations and hash something out? Or at least, do we need to just, schedule some time to get a babysitter so that we can really talk about blah, blah, blah. Things that need to be talked about. And I really like that this is in there because I think sometimes we know as couples that we need to have certain conversations and we're not sure, like, how do I bring it up? Like, how do I say, hey, we really need to sit down and talk about our budget because we've been doing a lot of spending. Like, how do I even bring that up?
Right.
If you're busy, if your spouse is busy, it can seem insensitive to like bring it up when they're going about their day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you just kind of throw it at them.
Yeah.
So,
catch them off guard.
Yeah. So having that time where it's like, okay, is there anything that we need to talk about? Is there anything that we need to talk about that we need to schedule a larger chunk of time, a date, or we need to go for a walk so we can talk about this so we don't talk about it in front of the kids or whatever. So I like that that's built in because it is hard sometimes where, like, you need to talk about something, like, oh man, like, but like you're stressed out because you had a rough day at work, or we just had to like stop the kids from ripping each other's hair out, so like I'm stressed, and you need to like we need to talk because like we gotta like balance our budget, and then you may have just said one thing. And then it just, can send the other person over the edge. Not because of what you said, but because of the moment. The moment.
The timing.
Yeah. So the meeting is the last part where it's just like, okay. Anything else? Anything on your mind? And you could talk about it then and there if it's only going to take a few minutes. But you can also then schedule time.
Yeah.
To be intentional. And that, I think it's just a part of being an adult. Is the discipline, around our time, and the intentionality like we have to have around conversations and stuff like that. And I think, sometimes we live in this fantasy world where we think like, I'm an adult, like everything will get taken care of. And it's like, yeah, but
by who?
Right. By who? Like, you got to plan though.
Right.
You do have to plan. And in your marriage, you do have to plan. You got to plan to plan.
Right.
So we got to plan to have conversations. We have to plan to have date nights. We have to plan all of those things so that we can enjoy our relationship with each other. So that's the meeting portion. It could be as simple as like, what's your schedule today? What's your schedule?
Yeah.
Or it can be as, in depth as like, hey, we need to go do X, Y, and Z and make plans because my aunt is on her deathbed and we got to figure all that out. Like, it could be serious.
Yeah.
But I feel like the meeting portion, it just gives you a moment where you can talk about things, or at least plan to talk about stuff and not feel blindsided.
Right.
Because that's so hard.
Yeah.
It's so hard. And it's not the other person's fault if you really need to talk to me about something, but I'm stressed out because of other things that don't have to do with our relationship, and you feel that it's the best time for you to bring it up, and I feel blindsided, like, and then I get mad at you because, oh my gosh, why did you just bring that up? And like, I'm stressed. Well, no, you didn't know I was stressed out. Right? So this morning time, carving out that time, helps you to be intentional. Intentional. And that's, like you said, consistent.
Yeah.
In this practice. So we are going to challenge ourselves to do some team building. Every day. 5 to 15 minutes. Doesn't have to be very long. And so we would like to challenge you to do some team building as well. I'll kind of put this disclaimer out there. If you're thinking about reading Miracle Morning for Couples, I would highly suggest just reading The Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod, where he talks about the individual and the savers, and then just listen to this video and take the notes on the acronym TEAM, because most of his Miracle Morning for Couples book is like kind of like a recap of Miracle Morning, and then like, oh yeah, this could apply to couples too. And it's like, I already read that book and you're reiterating everything. It is. I mean, it really is. When I went back and looked for this information, I was like, oh, like 2/3 of the book are like a recap of Miracle Morning. So it's strategic. I mean, that's marketing.
Yeah.
That's how people make money. I get it. But if you've never heard of him or The Miracle Morning, just read The Miracle Morning and then write down TEAM from this, and you're good.
Yeah.
Golden. Hopefully he don't come looking for money, but anything you want to add?
Sue you or anything?
No, because I just sent him some people buying his book.
Yeah, I know. No, I'm good. I just think we had a good conversation again.
Yeah.
Talked about some great things that can help us all, and build oneness and intimacy and happiness and joy and peace and love and everything.
And good sex. I'm surprised you didn't say that.
See, I'll be trying. Well, no, I ain't gonna say. I try to be the prudent one, but because most of the time it's me trying to take it there. But I'm glad you did. I'm glad you brought it up this time.
I always do. He's the sneaky one. He'll try to like today. Okay, but we're gonna head out here in a minute. But okay, y'all. Yes, our kids went back to school, and we work from home.
Yeah,
and so we are very grateful. First of all, we're grateful that they have the opportunity to go back to school. to see more of their friends, be in the classroom learning. It's just better, mentally, it's better for them. But that means that we get to work together at home. Mm-hmm. We have 2 separate jobs, but we're both still working from home. Yeah. And we don't have to get up and commute. He doesn't have to leave an hour and a half before me to go to work. We are at home. Mm-hmm. So that means we have the mornings to ourselves. Mm-hmm. So we've had some great mornings. So then what he does is we go on a family walk, and he's like alluding to...
What did I do?
He's alluding to a whole bunch of stuff in front of our kids. And I'm like, they are going to grow up. And when they think back to some of the conversations we had around them, they're going to be like, ew.
All I said was that, I did a lot of work today,
But he didn't say it like that.
I did a lot of work today. My legs are kind of tired.
And then
I didn't say my legs. Did I say? I just said I did a lot of work today.
But you kind of looked at me.
And I was trying not to smile.
And I was like, yes, you did. I just left it at that. Because I'm like, one day, our children are going to put 2 and 2 together and be like, Mom, Dad, you see it in the movies all the time, right? Kids realize what their parents do or what they were talking about. They're like, oh my gosh, don't act like that in front of us. So it's going to happen. But yeah, this one right here. Mm-hmm.
Hey, I'm blessed and highly favored.
Yes.
Amen. I'm grateful for all that God has blessed me with.
Yeah.
Amen.
Oh my gosh. And he knows the preacher voice is not allowed in the bedroom at all. So we appreciate all of you for joining.
Yeah.
And thanks for all the comments. We'll go back and kind of read the comments again and interact with them. That's hilarious. Well, okay, we're leaving after. I promise we're leaving, y'all. See, that's why we call it Sunday night service, right? Because what happens? You go to church and the preacher say they closing, and then they don't. Right. Because she said la la la. So you don't even know this. So me and my daughter, her bedroom's downstairs. We're upstairs. She was like, were you and Dad like talking like really loud last night? And I know it wasn't that because that didn't happen till later. But just the fact that she was like, were y'all talking really loud last night? Because I could like hear y'all through the vent. I was like, oh my goodness. But it wasn't last night. So, I mean, I know what she heard. I was like, were we that loud? Like we were talking, but I was like, dang, y'all, like, I'm like, we gotta have like an ambient noise machine in here or something. But guess what? I don't care. Like, I ain't crazy, but look, they know how they got here.
You're right. They already learned all that in school.
Yes, right? But I was just like, oh, snap. But, she didn't hear that. She did hear us actually having a conversation. Mm-hmm. But just the fact that she was like, yeah, you guys were like really loud. I was like, ooh, the sound travels through the vents, y'all. So don't forget the vents. Close your vents. But we're going. We're leaving. All right, we appreciate you. Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening. Also, hit us up on Instagram, Yaktastic1, YAKKTASTIC1.
Yep, and Candace _cultivates.
Yep, and Holy Matrimony here on Facebook and on YouTube. Yeah. Check out the podcast. Let us know what you think. Enjoy.
All right, thank you.
Y'all be blessed. Take it easy.
Bye.
All right. Thanks for listening to Holy Matrimony with Erik and Candace Yates. Don't forget to subscribe. We want you to be notified of all of our new content. Take care.